Welcome back to episode 5 of Average Joe News Co. Today we'll be covering a story about a Colorado wildfire crew that adopted an emotional support goat, as well as a serial Guinness World Record breaker who completed a marathon wearing 125 t-shirts. Let's get into it. For our first story, we have a Nigerian dwarf goat named Goldie, short for Golden Oreo, that followed firefighters over many hours this weekend as they extinguished a small wildfire in Colorado Springs. She did not help with the firefighting efforts, according to reports, but she did try to steal a bite of a Forest Service crew member's sandwich during a lunch break. Now, I think we're not far away from training these types of animals to be more than just spur of the moment emotional support animals, but genuine service animals. I need someone to make it their mission to make a dwarf goat recognize seizures like a dog that would work with someone with epilepsy. Could you imagine that you're on the early morning Vomit Comet Southwest flight out of Las Vegas and I show up with my service dwarf goat that will be laying in the floor of my middle seat for the next 2 to 5 hours? While that may sound like hell to you, I do think that if someone can bring a full-size German Shepherd on a plane, I should be able to bring a Nigerian dwarf goat as well. For our next story, we have the next edition of attention-seeking behavior. A man named David Rush holds the most concurrent Guinness World Record titles and decided that he would run a marathon this weekend wearing 125 t-shirts. Now, why did he do that? Because he ran a half marathon last year wearing 137 t-shirts. The thing that I wonder with this is what made this guy decide that the 12 extra t-shirts was his breaking point? It just doesn't seem to follow any logic that he would have run it and said, you know what, I can do twice the distance, but I just got to get rid of those 12 shirts. The 125 t-shirts, by the way, is 43 pounds of extra clothing. He finished in 5 hours, 54 minutes, and 50 seconds, which was 5 minutes short of Guinness's cutoff of 6 hours to recognize any marathon world record. Why are we cutting it off at 6 hours? Are we concerned that the legitimacy of the marathon plus number of t-shirts record is going to be compromised? I don't understand why Guinness continues to keep these ridiculous records. I understand they have a long history of doing so, but it feels like it's sort of a race to the bottom of who can come up with the most insane idea to do something that no one else would conceivably think to or want to actually do.
You're not that guy, pal. Trust me. You're not that guy.
Moving on to sports, quickly touching on my last prediction of the UFC 325 main and co-main events. I absolutely nailed the co-main event. Paddy the Baddy by submission, which was a 5-1 underdog. Really just a great pick. Gonna pat myself on the back for that one.
What do you think about Jake Paul, YouTuber turned fighter?
He's a sausage.
The main event was very sad for anyone who watched, for all of us waiting for the return of McGregor after 5 years of anticipation. It could not have gone any worse for him, for Holloway, who he was fighting against, who trained for months leading up to this fight to be prepared for it, and really just for all of the viewers looking for an exciting fight to see a guy like McGregor blow out his knee after blowing out his leg the last time he fought. Really just a sad thing all around. But I will say, overall, good prediction, great prediction on the Paddy side. And I also did say that Max would likely win this fight, even if I never could have imagined how quickly it would have happened. So that makes us 2 for good predictions, 0 for mid predictions, and 1 for bad predictions. Moving on to today's recommendations. By the time that this is posted, this will have already happened, but it hasn't yet at the time of filming. My recommendation is the Home Run Derby tonight, July 13th. There's a bunch of good new faces this year, but they've also changed the format of how they're doing it. It's no longer the stupid clock version that they've been running with the last couple of years. Now they get a certain number of swings per round and they can't end on a home run. So if it's their last swing and they keep hitting home runs, they just get more and more bonus swings. This is much better. It should let guys pick and choose what pitches they actually want to try to hit, as opposed to in years past where it's really been important that the pitcher is throwing consistent pitches. And this is just going to end up, I think, being a lot more exciting and less of a stamina competition for guys to just, try to hit anything they possibly can within a time frame out of the park. Give that a watch. We'll be back to see if that was a good recommendation, but I think it's going to be a lot more exciting than some of the previous years. Moving on to weather, we're going to do Wow That's Warm with a fun fact today. Bullhead City in Arizona is 113 degrees, and the fact about Bullhead City is that it is previously home to the largest river float gathering in the United States. Just a bunch of people getting on tubes and floating down the river. Makes sense if it's going to be 113 degrees that people would want to get in that river as quickly as possible.
Cancel. So hot right now. Cancel.
For That's Frigid, we have Point Hope, Alaska at a high of 45 degrees. The fact about there is that it is one of the oldest continuously inhabited places in North America with a history spanning over 2,500 years. Why would anyone want to live essentially in the Arctic Circle where it's 45 degrees in the summer and God knows how cold in the winter for 2,500 years? Your guess is as good as mine. That does it for episode 5 of Average Joe News Co. We'll be back the rest of this week with an episode each day. Thanks for checking us out. Play the outro music.
Can't let it slip when it's all in my grip. Talking too much, he probably not it. All that I did, cause I missed, time I spent. Yeah, that's that blood, sweating my love. Checking out tug, out of the mud. Rough only get picked up like a truck. Win in the clutch, that is a must.